Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how to make a princess dart for this beautiful off-shoulder dress. This tutorial will be divided into two parts. The first part, which is this one, will be about creating the pattern for the top part of the dress, which has a princess dart. While the next part of this tutorial will be about assembling the pieces and finishing up the rest of the dress. So let's get started. Now for the top part of this dress, I'll be working with a pattern because I decided to have a princess dart. So I came down from the top of my pattern paper by 1 inch. I drew a line across and that became my shoulder line. And from there, I took my shoulder to upper chest measurement, my shoulder to bust measurement, my shoulder to under bust measurement, and my shoulder to waist measurement. I drew a line across those points to have my upper chest line, bust line, under bust line, and my waistline. So right now I'm just indicating what each of these lines stand for. And this edge of the pattern paper right here will serve as my center front and it will be cut on a fold. Now going back to the shoulder line, I'll be coming in from the center front by 3 inches. And after marking that point, I'll be marking half of my across shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. And from there, I'll be going down by 1 inch. And then I'll go on to connect that point to the 3 inch I marked along the shoulder line in a slant, and that will be my shoulder slope. Now to connect the shoulder slope to the upper chest line, I'll first mark out 8 inches just to make sure the line is straight before going on to connect the 2 points together in a straight line like this. Now the next thing I'll be doing is to mark my bust span measurement, which is my nipple to nipple measurement on all the horizontal lines. So I'll be coming in from the center front by 4.5 inches. I have a bust circumference of 40 inches, so I'm using 4.5. But if you have a smaller bust, you can go with 4 inches. So I'm just going in by 4.5 inches and marking that point on all the horizontal lines. Then I'll bring in my ruler and connect all the points together in a straight line. And now to create the princess dart, I'll be coming out by 0.75 from the bust span line. I'm marking that along the waistline towards the direction of the center front, and then towards the direction of the side front, I'll be coming out by 1.25 inches from the bust span line. I'll be marking these exact same points along the under bust line as well, so 0.75 inches towards the center front and 1.25 inches towards the side front. Now bring in my ruler and connect these points together in a straight line. And then I'll move over to the bust line and come down by 1 inch along the bust span line. And now I'll go on to connect these points to the points I marked along the under bust line. I'll be using my French curve for this, so I'm just bringing that in and you can see how I'm placing it. I'll go ahead and connect the points to meet the points on the under bust line. And this right here will become my first dart. Now in order to create the second dart, first I have to create the armhole. And in order to do that, I'll start by finding the midpoint of this vertical line. After marking that point, I'll be going in by half an inch. Then I'll move over to the upper chest line and mark a quarter of my bust circumference. And now I'll just bring in my French curve to connect these 2 points to meet the end of the shoulder slope. So now that I've created my armhole, I'll move on to find the midpoint of the shoulder slope. So the shoulder slope divided by 2. And when I mark that point, I'll go on to connect it to meet the point I have on the upper chest line. So I'll just bring in my ruler and connect the 2 points together like this. And this will be the line where the second dart will be created. Now because this dress is off shoulder, I'll be taking off 4 inches from the shoulder line. So from the shoulder line, I'll be coming down by 4 inches. I'll just mark that point across, then square it out with my ruler. And so everything above the 4-inch mark is irrelevant for the dress. So I'm just going to cancel that out and now I'm folding it in so that I won't be confused. Okay, so now I'm ready to create the second dart and I'll be doing that on either side of this line right here. So I'll be marking 0.75 inch on either side of the line. And when I'm done marking, I'll be connecting these 2 points to meet the point I have on the upper chest line. Again, I'll be using my French curve to do this. Just pay attention to how I'm placing it. And once you've connected the 2 points to meet the upper chest line, the second dart has been created. Now it's time to work on the off shoulder, and the first thing I'll be doing is to take my armpit to armpit measurement, just like you see in the picture. And when I did that, I had 17 inches. And because this is being cut on a fold, I'll be dividing the 17 inches by 2 before I place the measurements. So go ahead and take your armpit to armpit measurements and divide that by 2. When I did mine, I had 8.5 inches. And I'm going to be placing that measurement on this top part right here. Now I'm going to take the measurement from the first leg of my dart to the center front, and I had 4.25 inches, as you can see, which means from the second leg of my dart I need to measure out another 4.25 inches to make up 8.5. So you remember the 8.5 is half of my armpit to armpit measurements. So whatever measurement you got, it's what you're placing here. So I have 4.25 on either side, so that when I take away this dart, I have a total of 8.5 inches. So because I increased the measurement on this side, I have to adjust the armhole as well. And from this new point I marked to the previous armhole, I had 2.5 inches. So I'm just transferring that to the upper chest line as well, and then I'll go ahead to draw out my new armhole. So whatever extra measurement you have from the previous armhole is what you'll be transferring to your upper chest line, and then just go ahead and draw out your new armhole and cancel out the old one. So this part right here will be my side front, and here will be my center front. So now it's time to place a quarter of my horizontal measurements. I already marked a quarter of my bust circumference along the upper chest line. So now I'll go on to mark a quarter of my under bust circumference plus the measurement I have for the dart. So here I have 2 inches, so I'm going to be adding 2 inches to that. Then on the waistline, I'll mark out a quarter of my waist circumference plus the 2 inches that we'll be taking out for the dart. And by the way, if you're wondering about the change in nail color, I realized I lost some footage while editing, so I had to quickly refilm it. Now moving on, I'm just bringing in my ruler to connect the under bust line to meet the waistline. Then I'll connect the upper chest line downwards to meet the under bust line. Once I'm done with that, I'll be adding half an inch allowance after the waistline that will be used for joining. So from the waistline, I'm coming down by half an inch. I'll mark that point across and then square it out with my ruler. So yeah, that's basically it for this pattern. I have my 2 panels, and now I'm ready to cut. So when cutting, I'm basically just taking away the dart that I created. Then I'll go ahead to cut along the other lines that I drew. And of course, don't forget to take out the part that was folded in. And yeah, these are my 2 panels. I have the center front and the side front. The center front will obviously be cut on a fold, and for the side front, I'll be cutting out 2 pieces for that. And that's it for the front. Let's move on to the back. Now here's the pattern for the back. I came down by 1 inch and drew out my shoulder line. I also created my zipper allowance, which is 1.5 inches. Then I went ahead to draw out the same horizontal lines I had for the front, which is the upper chest line, the bust line, the waistline, and I added half an inch for allowance. So right now I'm just going in to mark my bust span measurement, which is 4.5 on all of these horizontal lines. Then I'll bring in my ruler and connect the lines together in a straight line. So the only difference between this and the front is the zipper allowance, so please don't be confused. So right now I'm creating the darts for the back by marking 0.75 on either side of the bust span line. I marked that along the waistline. Then I came down from the upper chest line by 1 inch, and now I'm just going in with my ruler to connect these 3 points together, as you can see. So once they are connected, that will be it for the back dart. I'll be moving on to create the armhole curve. To do that, I'll start by marking the midpoint of this vertical line. Then I'll go on to mark a quarter of my bust circumference along the upper chest line. Please make sure to start measuring after the zipper allowance. So right now I'm just extending the upper chest line a bit before bringing in my French curve to create the back armhole. And I'll do that by simply connecting the 2 points together like this. Now before I continue, I'll just go on and extend all the horizontal lines so it can accommodate my measurements. And once that's done, I'll be coming down from the shoulder line by 4 inches, just like we did for the front pattern. I'll be marking that across, then I'll square it out with my ruler and fold it in. Like I said before, I'm doing this because it's an off-shoulder dress and the top part is not needed. So now it's time to go on and place my horizontal measurements. I already marked a quarter of my bust circumference along the upper chest line. Now I'm marking that same measurement here on the bust line. Then I'm going to take the measurements for the dart and add to that. Then I'll move on to the waistline and mark a quarter of my waist circumference. Then I'll also take the measurements I have for the dart and add to that as well. So now that I'm done marking, it's time to connect the points together. So I'm using my ruler and I'll be connecting the bust line to the waistline. I'll extend that to meet the hemming allowance as well. And before connecting the upper chest line to the bust line, I decided to adjust the armhole first. And to do that, first I'll confirm the measurement for the off shoulder, and what I had was 8 inches, so I had to extend it to get 8.5. Remember, this 8.5 is half of my armpit to armpit measurements. And remember to measure after the zipper allowance. Okay, so now that I've marked that point, I'm going in with my French curve to connect it to the point I have on the upper chest line. And there's my new armhole. So I'm going to cancel the old one. And then I'll go ahead to connect the upper chest line to the bust line. Now, I decided I didn't want to sew any darts for the back, so right now I'm just going to extend my bust span measurement to the off shoulder. So I came in by 4.5 from the zipper allowance, and now I'm just going to connect it in a straight line to meet the point at the upper chest line. So that's basically it for the back. Now I'm just going in to mark my side seam allowance, and I'm using 1.5 inches, but you can use 1 inch, you don't have to use 1.5. And I'm marking that on all the horizontal lines, so the upper chest line, the bust line, and the waistline. Once I'm done with that, I'll go in with my ruler and connect all the points together. And we are all done with the back pattern. Now bring in my scissors and cut following all the lines that I marked. I'll also go ahead and cut off the excess at the top. So for the top part of this dress, these are the 3 patterns that I'll be working with. And of course, I'll be cutting out 2 pieces using the back pattern. Now remember I said I won't be sewing a dart for the back piece, so I'm just taking off the dart here on the pattern and I'm joining it back together using Scotch tape. So yeah, I'm just going to cut off the back pieces using this. So these 3 are the final pattern pieces that I'll be using to create the top. In my next video, I'll be sharing with you the complete dress tutorial so you can see how I put this together. So we've come to the end of this part of the tutorial. If you stayed all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.